think about it for a second. Like, what would you wait 6 hours for?
A free car.
Welcome to GlowJob, the beauty podcast that's more than skin deep. We're the only podcast to make you hotter and smarter.
How was your Memorial Day?
Honestly, it was really fun. I did a little girls trip to Vancouver, so it was really nice just kind of like getting away for a weekend, but I love that city.
Vancouver's really pretty. I think it's super charming. It's just a little too small for me to be like a real city.
I know what you mean. I feel like it's like underrated because it still has all of like the hallmarks of a larger size city. It's got the skyscrapers, it's got an Hermes store, but I know what you mean where it feels small.
Yeah.
It was like almost eerily quiet, if that makes sense, just kind of walking around. But I loved how clean the city was. The food was amazing. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I loved it. But what about you?
We were in New Mexico, and it was my first time going to New Mexico. It was really cute. We did a night in Taos, and then we did 2 nights in Santa Fe. But holy shit, that altitude and like the dryness, it really got to me.
Yeah, I think a lot of people expect New Mexico just to be like warm and sunny and really pleasant, but I don't know, it's definitely like a desert and it's an intense climate.
Yeah, it's a desert, but like a mountain town. But I don't know. It was still really fun. I enjoyed it. We had a good time.
Yeah, it's charming. I feel like so many people, like they think of New Mexico as like that city that you go and retire to and start wearing a lot of turquoise.
Yeah. To me, I just think of like Georgia O'Keeffe, which was like the draw of me wanting to be there because I really love her. And I also did you know she's like the highest sold female artist in the world? Like
I did know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a lot of talent that likes New Mexico. It's such a little hub for like artists, whether they're big or small. Tom Ford even used to live in New Mexico.
I get it. It's kind of like a cool, sexy vibe, but it's also a little creepy. And yeah, it's interesting. I thought I could live there, but then my skin was so mad at me by the end of the trip. I was like, no, I think I need some more moisture.
A little more humidity.
Yeah, just like a touch, yeah. So today we are going to talk about the Rhode acquisition by e.l.f. Holy crap.
I truly think that this is the biggest beauty news of the year. So let's just break it down.
So e.l.f. acquired Rhode for the sweet tune of $1 billion, and that's broken down into an $800 million upfront, which is $600 million in cash, $200 million in stock, and that remaining $200 million is actually going to be an earnout. So depending on if Rhode can hit certain revenue benchmarks, they'll get that extra $200 million.
And to be honest, I feel like they're going to hit it. Also this year, they're slated to join Sephora, which people are so excited for. Up until now, they've only been available online or at their super, super viral, buzzy pop-ups. So I think with the addition of selling at Sephora in the US and Canada, they're going to hit that 200.
And Rhode is hitting Sephora this fall, which is only a couple months away.
The Sephora sale this year for the fall time is going to be off the charts, I swear.
This is the fastest majority sale in beauty history ever. Rhode engaged JP Morgan as their advisory bank only in April of this year, and we're in May and they sold?
It's so crazy. I feel like every single banker on that deal was working overtime.
So in the last 12 months ending March of this year, Rhode did over $212 million in revenue. Holy crap.
And when you kind of put that into perspective, it really makes you realize that $1 billion is a super fair value. Like, I don't think that, they got buku bucks for this. I think that's definitely what the company is worth.
Yeah, I mean, in beauty, the multiple is usually anywhere between 3 to 8x. So at 200 million revenue, that makes their multiple 5x. So it's kind of like within reason.
Yeah. And so Hailey's actually going to stay on with the company. She's going to move into a chief creative officer as well as head of innovation, but she's also going to be joining e.l.f. as one of their strategic advisors. So I think that's a great move on their part.
That's a big deal. It's usually only like you stay on as an advisory role for your own brand, not the brand that acquired you. Pretty big news.
Yeah, and there's so many brands within e.l.f.'s kind of environment, not just e.l.f. itself. But you want to know a fun fact about e.l.f.?
Yeah, tell me.
So I think a lot of people, they just think, oh, e.l.f., like a little pixie or like Lord of the Rings e.l.f. No, it actually stands for eyes, lips, and face.
Yes, a la MAC, maybe?
Yes, makeup and cosmetics.
Yep. I mean, they are the king of dupes, so. And so this transaction comes up at the perfect time because of our current tariff climate. So, this Rhode acquisition is going to help e.l.f. diversify their supply chain, have things focused and centralized within the domestic US a bit more. Smart move.
Definitely. And I think as Rhode moves into Sephora, they're going to like the production, the quantity of products that they're going to need in the supply chain. Again, they're going to need someone like e.l.f. to really help them understand how to do that at scale.
Not even like a month ago, we saw Hailey Bieber, right?
I don't know if it's interesting or if she's like making these moves intentionally, but we were at the LA Fashion Awards and it was a spectacle to say the least, but she won Beauty Innovator of the Year.
And Jen Atkin introduced her at the award ceremony. It was really cute. She got very emotional and was talking about like what a great mom Hailey is and yada, yada. But like you said, I feel like all of this is probably because of a really good PR team, because the same month that the acquisition happened, boom, she's on the cover of Vogue.
I know. And you know what? We'll touch on like Hailey's PR strategy a lot of times throughout the episode. They have nailed it every single step of the way from day one.
So let's start from the beginning and explore the woman behind Rhode, aka Hailey Bieber.
So Hailey was born Hailey Rhode Baldwin back in 1996, which makes her so young for being so accomplished. But it's great because Rhode is her mother's maiden name, I believe. So it's like a family name. So it's really cute that she was able to incorporate that into her brand.
Hailey is the daughter of actor Stephen Baldwin. So, textbook Nepo baby here.
Right. And even Stephen Baldwin is, I guess, like a Nepo family, right? From like a very, very famous family of a bunch of actors. But throughout her entire life, she has always been photographed with every single famous celebrity or famous kid of celebrities. So we're talking everybody from like the Kardashian Jenner clan to the Sophia Richie clan and kind of like every single person that was like dominating our Instagram feeds back in the day.
And then Hailey married Justin Bieber in 2017.
I always remember so much of like the drama and lore around her like relationship triangle with Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez.
Oh, okay. So like the lore is because of Selena and Justin breaking up, but like years ago, and then her marrying him. I'm still so confused by this.
So for me, it's just something that like the media just can't get enough of. And I personally believe that both Hailey and Selena still play into it because Selena's still talking about it to this day, right? Like with her song mentioning how Justin Bieber called her 23 times on his wedding day. But yeah, so Justin and Selena used to date. They broke up and then Hailey started dating him. But it's crazy because like they've been married for 5 years now. They have a whole ass kid and people still just like can't get enough of this like drama.
So Hailey's interest in beauty and branding grew during COVID in 2020.
And that totally makes sense. I mean, you're locked at home, you can't go outside. And I think so many people got like super obsessed with like skincare, hair care, everything back then. And just also just taking like a bigger step away from makeup and beauty because like, where are you going?
Exactly. Just staying at home.
And so when she first wanted to start Rhode, she was so strategic. And she had this brilliant partnership with Michael Ratner, who is the head of OBB Media. And it's just kind of like a media strategy branding kingpin in the industry. Everyone who has anyone has worked with him. He partnered a lot with Justin Bieber, which I think that's kind of how they formed. But he kind of helped her create a roadmap before starting Rhode. But their first move was like getting her really big on YouTube.
And her YouTube channel, like if you look at the production quality, this is no ordinary YouTube channel. It's full blown like movie set.
Yeah. And it was crazy how fast it grew. But so she started just kind of making her own videos, get ready with me's. But then she launched an interview series called Who's in My Bathroom. And this totally just like took off. She basically just invited a lot of celebrities as special guests into her bathroom, which was behemoth and large enough to actually fit a 2-person dining table where they would make food. And she would just talk to her celebrity friends, whether it's like making crock pot mac and cheese with Kendall Jenner or Gwyneth Paltrow or Keke Palmer, Emily Ratajkowski, everybody. But I think, what was so crazy about it is that she literally gained 2 million YouTube followers in 2 months.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I feel like for most people, including myself, like the first time I've ever heard Hailey Bieber even speak was probably from her YouTube channel.
100%. And I think that's why like this partnership with OBB was so intentional because they wanted to start giving her a voice, giving her some personality. Like kind of like peeling back the layer of who we would only just literally just see on Instagram, not like hear her voice or hear kind of her, again, persona. But I think it really just kind of made people fall in love with her.
And so we know that Hailey was really strategic about launching Rhode because the Who's in My Bathroom series started in 2021, and she only had a couple dozen celebrity guests come onto the YouTube channel before she officially launched Rhode.
And each of those videos had millions and millions of views. I'm talking like 3-4 million each.
And so she officially launches Rhode in June of 2022.
And when they initially launched, they actually only had 3 products. They had their peptide glazing fluid, their barrier restore cream, and their peptide lip treatment.
And they took some initial investment from groups affiliated with Scooter Braun.
Which also wasn't surprising because Scooter was Justin's manager. So it's kind of like all roads lead back to Justin Bieber in a way. But I mean, who cares now? She literally made $1 billion. And in reality, there's been controversy related to Rhode even from the jump. When they first launched and when they were going through trademark filing, which is a very crucial step if you're trying to start a brand, you have to see like, can you use the name you want to use? There was actually a clothing line called Rhode that had been around for a long time. I have one of their dresses. It's really, really fun. But they got into a little bit of a war over her using the name Rhode. And she could have backed down, but she didn't. And they ended up settling. And Rhode is actually no more. Rhode, the clothing brand, is actually no more. They shuttered their doors in 2024. And guess who picked up the Rhode clothing trademark?
Hailey.
Of course she did.
It's funny because it shows how Hailey is trying to build a whole ecosystem around all these brands, because they easily could have continued operating Rhode as a cosmetics brand without having that trademark. Like the way that trademarks work is like you're in a category. So it could be like, I have the trademark for Rhode in athletic wear. I have the trademark for Rhode for entertainment usage. So she had it in cosmetics. She didn't necessarily need the clothing trademark.
I know, but I think that she has actually publicly stated that she is envisioning this Rhode world, whatever that ends up looking like, but making sure that you can like check off merch and clothing along the way is like crucial.
So who is the team behind Rhode? Like obviously there's Hailey, but there are a lot of really strategic partners who have helped her build this into the billion-dollar business it is today. And I think we want to first start off with Michael Ratner, aka the guy who kicked off the YouTube series. So Michael Ratner is a co-founder within Rhode, and he actually serves as the co-executive chairman for Rhode. And he's also an equity partner. So when this deal happened, he got a piece of that.
And it wasn't just him, it was also his wife, Lauren. So, you know, Lauren has been part of Rhode since the very, very beginning. And she right now sits as the president and chief brand officer. So I'm pretty sure both of them got a real nice payday.
Oh yeah, for sure. And when Rhode first started, they had a pretty seasoned CEO sit with them. It was Melanie Bender. And so she joined in October of 2022. She's a beauty veteran who's held roles at major skincare companies like Versed, and she was also the founding president and advisor at Merit Beauty and Mana Products, where she was an independent consultant for their strategy.
But the interesting thing is, like, we don't really know why Melanie left. There was no public statement, there was no announcement. But if you look at her LinkedIn profile, she's not like working anywhere else right now. So I don't know what happened there, but clearly she didn't leave Rhode to go do something else.
Yeah. I mean, she was only there at Rhode for 1 year. So she started October 2022. She left in October 2023. I'm assuming she probably got some equity being within the founding C-suite team. I don't know. I'm so curious what happened. I wish I knew.
Oh, I'm sure there's going to be a docuseries one of these days with all of the drama behind it. But there was a new CEO who stepped in, Nick Vlahos. He stepped in 2024, and he's still the CEO to this day. He's also a beauty veteran, though. He was a CEO of Honest Co., the Jessica Alba beauty company, and even worked at places like Clorox in the past. So thinking about how big those companies are, right? Like selling like internationally in person at like whether it's like Target or I guess Clorox is in like every grocery store around the world, right? So he definitely has that like operational expertise related to like scaling.
So what makes Rhode Rhode?
I think they do a really good job of clearly defining their brand pillars. And that is so important in today's market, especially when you think of like how Gen Z like to operate, how they like to consume. They don't just like products. They like products with a story, with kind of like an emotional pull to them. So I think they did a really good job of defining their brand voice from day one. As they were launching, Roe versus Wade being overturned was so important and so important to the Gen Z community. And they took a very clear stance supporting women during that time. And those early posts were getting them like 500,000 views and just really skyrocketing their engagement.
Julia, do you like Rhode?
To be honest, I have never used a Rhode product.
Really?
Yeah, I think for me, they are not very interesting. And I think that is kind of part of their brand. Like they want to be minimalist. They want to appease everybody, but they also claim to be skin first. And for me, if you're going to be a skincare company, you have to deliver results. And they play it safe, way too safe. And I think like for the buck, like you can get a lot better products.
I actually really agree with that. I think like if you're, I don't know, 15 to 20, this is great because it's really simple. It's not that like complicated, just hydrating, just like a nice little moisturizer, right? But if you are, a woman in your 30s and you want some real shit to make this stuff look good, I don't know, I can spend my money elsewhere and get way better results.
Yeah, I know that I can get better peptide glazing things from, other places, but I don't know. I think, the packaging is pretty, the branding is amazing, but those type of things really just don't influence me. And I think it's kind of similar. Like she took a playbook from like a Glossier or a Summer Fridays, if that makes sense, where they just create really aesthetic products that anyone can use and feel dewy. But I don't know. I need something a little bit more intense and stronger.
I totally agree with you. But here's the thing. I actually think most people don't really care about products. They care about the vibe and they're buying into the vibe. It's so sad to say, but I honestly think that's how most people think.
Oh, 100%. And we see it time and time again with so many different brands. And it's like no shade to Hailey and it's no shade to Rhode. Like they are hydrating products. They are, they are what they are. But I just don't think that it's going to like transform my skin or make my makeup look any better. Like I feel like I've done a lot of research and trial and error in how I want my face to look. And I'm just like not really willing to incorporate a brand that I know isn't the most efficacious, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. It totally makes sense to me. But so people are kind of just buying Rhode because they love Hailey, I'm guessing?
I think they love Hailey. I think they love the community that she's built. Like every single it girl who has ever been an it girl has like graced her Instagram feed as like, face of Rhode for the week or something like that, or like Rhode partner. And, I know that she did partner with a lot of really seasoned formulators who've brought amazing products to market. But, there's still been a lot of pushback for some of the things that she's created.
What do you mean by pushback?
So people saying that either the product itself isn't good or that it's breaking them out. And I think if you are going to be a skincare line, those are kind of, no-nos.
Oh, are you talking about how people were saying that the glazing fluid was breaking them out?
Yes, that kind of like peptide serum. There were so many people saying that it was causing like not acne or breakouts, but just like bumps on the skin. It was clogging a lot of pores. And I know that there's been a lot of back and forth of like, is it comedogenic? Is it non-comedogenic? They say that they're non-comedogenic. And if you look at the ingredients list, they do look safe, but there have been so many people across TikTok, across another podcast in the beauty space, but they were definitely calling them out for just not using it. And then, but people love the brand so much. They was just say, oh, maybe not for my face, but I'll put it on my body. I'm still going to use it.
So I heard that people were saying that the niacinamide and the dimethicone within that glazing fluid was causing the breakouts, but that doesn't really make sense to me. I mean, you would need to have really, really, really high concentrations of niacinamide to make that like an issue. And same with dimethicone. I feel like that's a really safe ingredient.
For sure, it is. I mean, these are kind of like a lot of the Rhode products have even been touted as like makeup priming products, right? So they're not going to deliver any actives into the skin. If anything, like people would accuse them of like fairy dusting their products, where they're just adding a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of peptides and then just like slapping peptide on the label.
To be honest, I like just do not understand the obsession with Hailey Bieber. I hate to say it. I don't get it. Like she's just a what is it? She blonde, brunette? I don't know. A white girl who's cute. Like, I don't understand the appeal.
I think a lot of people feel that way.
Do they? Because I feel like everyone tells me how much they love her, and I'm like, I don't understand it.
I mean, I think that she's very safe and she always plays it very safe. Like, even though she is this trendsetter, whether it's like the oversized blazer.
Is she a trendsetter?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Like, literally whenever I like go to Vogue.com, I feel like I'm seeing like Hailey Bieber's new nails are the nails of the summer and things like that. But they're basically like pink nails with a little bit of shimmer on it. And so like that is the trend.
But here's my counter to that, which is perhaps she just has a really, really excellent PR person helping push that narrative forward, because that is not a trend. Pink fucking nails is not a trend.
No, but what you're saying right now is very, very common in the Hailey Bieber narrative, right? So when she did the pink nails, they were called like donut nails, right? She wore pink blush and then everyone started calling it strawberry makeup. She did brown eyeshadow and then everyone started calling it latte makeup. She started wearing like oversized blazers when she was working with Maeve Riley as like her stylist, and then like Aritzia exploded, so so it is very true that she is just taking kind of like regular schmegular things. She takes a cute picture, it gets a million likes, and then it becomes a quote unquote trend. But a lot of people are saying like pink nails is not a trend. A slick back bun does not make a trend. But, these news outlets would beg to differ.
Yeah, I think she's got really good PR. That person or team deserves a big ass bonus.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, I do think she's beautiful. And I do think that the life that she lives is aspirational, right? Like, I think a lot of people give her a lot of props because, she's like paving this way for herself despite Justin Bieber. She keeps pushing forward despite Selena Gomez's mean fans calling her a homewrecker. But, I think that maybe that's what people are drawn to. She does take a great picture and she does have a great face, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, maybe it's more of my qualms with celebrity culture, especially like American celebrity culture, but that's a whole nother conversation.
That's a whole nother episode in itself. But I feel like, I don't know, since the beginning of time, people have always gravitated towards an it girl, right? And so there's always going to be one in every generation. And this one's is definitely Hailey Bieber's.
So you mentioned the glazing fluid pushback. I think there were a couple other ones though, right?
So one big one was with their lip peptide treatments. And this is like their hero product, if you will. But basically people were saying that they were gritty and that they felt kind of like sandy and that they didn't apply well on the lips. And especially the colored one, maybe the pigment was kind of coagulating or clumping up in some way, but people were complaining about it. And the crazy thing is that when, the brand replied to how to address the grittiness in these lip balms, they just say, just put it in hot water.
Oh my God.
Stop. Just kind of melt it down a little bit, stir it around a hot cup of water. But yeah, that was their response.
Yeah, because it's totally smart to put a plastic container in some hot ass water and just swirl it around.
I know. I feel like the Mahas out there are going to be like, the nanoplastics seeping into my lip product.
I also heard that there was like some inconsistent packaging, right?
So I think one of the things that helped Rhode get really buzzy was like all of their activity on the internet and TikTok and whatever. But basically they were really good at like PR and the PR gifting specifically to influencers and to have people have these like box unboxing moments, right? Where they're kind of showing how beautiful it is and the overall experience. But when people were actually receiving their Rhode packages and like, let's say they bought, I don't know, a lip peptide, they would get like a box and they would open it and they would expect the tissue paper and the cards and whatever. It would just be like a rolling like box somewhere, just like really disappointing. And so people were saying like, how come all of these influencers get this big, beautiful packaging? And it's not like they're just opening the PR boxes, but as if it was just like regular products in a box, but like theirs would just be so sad. They would just complain even about that.
That's like really surprising to me because I feel like nowadays it's almost the standard for beauty brands to have a beautiful ship box. Like,
yes,
the whole drop ship box of like from the second it arrives to your home and you cut that box open with a box cutter and you open it and usually there's like beautiful text. There's a lot of color. There is wonderful tissue paper. Like there's so much branding that goes into that box. it's kind of shocking that they didn't do that.
Yeah. And so the whole issue there was like they felt like only the influencers were getting that unboxing experience, but the regular everyday consumers was just like very underwhelming.
AKA the people who are actually paying real money for the product. That's sad.
So let's talk about growth. I literally feel like from day one, this brand was a rocket ship. And again, they launched in just 2022, halfway through 2022.
They hit $90 million in revenue in the months of November and December of 2024 alone. And that was supposed to be like their year-end projections.
And what's wild also is that like they only have 10 products. You would feel like they have way more just because they're like constantly posting things. And when I say that they have 10 products, like yes, they have like a ton of flavors of their lip peptide treatment, but they only have like 10 individual things. And for a company that's making that much money, that's actually pretty surprising. There are other brands like, I don't know, I know they're not as big as NYX, but I feel like NYX does like 2 products a week at this point.
Oh my God, yeah, for sure. And also the fact that like they've been DTC the entire time, like that's wild. So now you can buy Rhode outside the US. So it's like US, Canada, UK, I believe France, Germany, Italy, and maybe Ireland, I think it is.
Okay, but like US and like parts of Europe.
Select parts of Europe. But like they haven't done that much marketing internationally. But in 2023, more than 50% of their web traffic came from international countries.
And I feel like all of that has everything to do with social media, right? It's not just like the Rhode page, but it's every single influencer that's been posting about Rhode, going to these crazy events that she throws, or, you know, even just Hailey Bieber's page alone. Like she has tens and tens of millions of followers. And so when it comes to this kind of like earned media value, right? Like how valuable is this online presence? Rhode was ranked #1 in earned media value in 2024.
And Rhode led the skincare category with over 367% year-over-year growth.
And Hailey Bieber herself garnered over $400 million in earned media value.
I feel like part of the reason why they have done so well is this scarcity model, right? And then we've talked about this a little bit. They have limited edition drops. They have these frequent restocks though, but it fuels this like hype and urgency and this like, I gotta have it vibe.
Oh, totally. And like, can I just say something?
Yeah.
I don't know if this is true or if it's, again, me just being like classic conspiracy theorist, but like, do you think they were actually out of stock?
Oh, no, I bet you not. I will bet you money. They were like, let's just take a beat and see if we can get more buzz.
I feel like they just kind of do like these like scheduled monthly out of stocks that just like pop up on the website. And then people like, you know, are then able to join these wait lists. And she is so famous for having people on the wait list with like hundreds of thousands of people on a wait list for a freaking lip gloss.
You know what this reminds me of? Like back in New York when I would see people in these crazy ass lines, like lines that would go around blocks, plural. And I always think to myself, like, what kind of a human waits in a line for like 3 hours for a thing? Well, apparently it's the same humans that are buying Rhode.
Oh yeah. I mean, every single one of her in-store pop-ups was exactly like that. And if you think about it, like they only sell 10 freaking products. If you love Hailey Bieber and Rhode that much, you probably already own a few of them. But she would do these things like, oh, there's going to be a limited edition blush color at this pop-up, or a limited edition like keychain ring that you can only get at this pop-up. And that to me was just like so crazy, because if I'm waiting 6 hours in line for anything, I better be getting paid. Right? Wouldn't you?
Of course.
No, honestly, like think about it for a second. Like what would you wait 6 hours for?
A free car.
Right?
Yeah. Like a down payment for a house. Like
I mean, I don't know, especially because like you're outside and just imagine, I don't know when, I know they had a London pop-up. I don't know what month it was, but in my mind, like London's always like rainy and gray. And I'm like, are people just like shivering on the streets, like hoping they get like a limited edition, like chocolate flavored, whatever?
I think this is the difference between like a 30-year-old and a 20-year-old,
I don't know, but who has the time? I definitely don't.
I don't. I'm only waiting in lines for free cars. That's it. Why don't we take a step back? And we've been talking a lot about the growth and everything, but what do you think actually makes Rhode so special?
You know, that's a good question because like, you know, we already went over that the formulations are nothing special, right? They're not going to transform your skin. Like you're not going to get Hailey Bieber's skin from using her products. Sorry. But, I think what she does really well is being authentic. And I think that is something that everybody is craving in any industry, kind of like outside of like tech, finance, like STEMmy kind of stuff. But like any consumer driven brand requires authenticity. And if you look at like this realm of like influencers, celebrity founders, like Hailey Bieber did a really good job at this. I think the only other person that did an equally good job in my mind is like Selena Gomez with Rare. I know you like Selena.
I do like Selena.
And I know you're like on the fence with Hailey.
I just don't get the hype. I think I think I struggle with this like authenticity argument, because how truly authentic can you be when everything is a PR push and a PR stunt? I feel like I don't think that Selena is like trying to be like, just, this is just casually me, it's very apparent this is planned and this is what she's doing. The Hailey thing, it feels like, oh, I just happened to be doing this and I just happened to be on the cover. I just happened to win this award.
Low key, I kind of think that like she's just been like that lucky girl her whole life. And so it is authentic to her, right? Like she went from like being, she like grew up around rich and famous people, right? It's like no surprise that she is now a rich and famous person herself. And so I don't know if it's like lucky girl syndrome, or what do they call it? Like lucky sperm club. Have you heard this?
No, I've heard that.
Yeah. So, I think it's part of that, but I do find it to be authentic to her, right? Like she is known for like really leading a lot of like the creative direction of the brand, and really just wanting to kind of usher in something that looks and matches her like aesthetic. And for some people, they're being like so focused on like the aesthetic is them being authentic. And I think that she did that well. But when you look at like other brands, so we mentioned that like Selena did it well. An example of like a celebrity line that failed to do it in my mind is Kylie Cosmetics.
Oh, okay. So I kind of get that. I see what you mean there.
Right? Like I think in 2016, when Kylie Cosmetics was at its peak, right? Like everyone was obsessed with like the lip kits and whatever. Like that truly was who Kylie Jenner was online, right? Like she would have the teal hair and the crazy makeup looks, but then she's tried like pushing the same products to people, but didn't match that kind of aesthetic on her own Instagram feed or TikTok or whatever. She almost had like a Hailey Bieber aesthetic.
Yeah, I see what you mean. So it's not really feeling aligned to the brand.
Yeah. And so I feel like she really nailed that alignment. And I think I honestly think like if you went to her house and walked around, like the whole aesthetic of her house would still look like her Instagram feed. And that's just kind of how she moves about life.
Okay. So it sounds more, it's like alignment with the brand per se, like, because I feel like that word authenticity gets overused.
Maybe alignment is better.
Yeah. I see that a lot.
Okay. So yeah, I think, it's very curated and I feel like it's very intentional, but I feel like she just did it so well that a lot of other brands just don't do. Like, so we mentioned Kylie Jenner, so who's like another brand who doesn't scream authentic?
I got one. J.Lo. Okay, here's the thing though. I love J.Lo. I do. I truly do. But she is not using her skincare brand at all.
No freaking way. Like she's been quoted saying like, oh, I use the La Mer eye cream on my whole body. Like she's not rubbing whatever she's hawking like on her own skin.
Like that pepper balm that she had that I put in the wrong place because that shit burned.
Yeah. So yeah, I think Kylie Jenner, J.Lo, they kind of missed the mark, even though they have like crazy loyal fans. And I think, the numbers show. So we went over authenticity, and I think that there are other things that she just nailed, which really lead to why the brand did so well. But one of them was super strategic celebrity partnerships. And I think it's hard to do because of course, like everyone just wants like the biggest name at the time. And that's going to like sell 1 million lip glosses. So for example, when they launched their body cream, it was around a time where all over the internet, 90s trends were really, really trending. That whole 90s like supermodel aesthetic, whatever. So who did they get to rep the launch? Claudia Schiffer.
Oh, wow. That was good. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I don't feel like most Gen Z kids like really knew Claudia Schiffer, but they would like look her up and be like, oh my God, she's so freaking cool. I'm now like the cool girl who knows who Claudia Schiffer is.
And you gotta mention the phone case, the viral phone cases. There was a 400-person wait list for the Rode phone case, which again, blows my mind. I'm so confused. But the reason why I think this did so well was they actually poached a Glossier person to design that phone case.
Yeah, his name is Sam Sontag, and he's a total genius. I mean, he's worked with Glossier, he's worked with brands like Tower 28, but he really just understands kind of that mentality of creating products that not only look good when being photographed, but have like an addictive nature to them, if that makes sense. And I feel like everybody knows what this phone case looks like, but if you're unfamiliar with it, all it is, it's a phone case, it says Rhode, and there's a slot where you can insert one of her lip glosses, and it only fits that specific lip gloss, no other products. And it's genius because not only are people able to kind of carry it around with them everywhere, and they're going to want something in that phone case at all times, but whenever you take a selfie, the product is going to be in your picture and the name is going to be in the picture also.
And Sam is also the one who designed that really aesthetic, beautiful Glossier hand cream where it like literally fits into the palm of your hand. So he is a really creative designer.
Oh, I loved that product. What I liked is like it had like that almost like lighter top that you would flip on and off. And that was like addicting to me, almost like a fidget spinner.
I was just going to say, yeah, just like a fidget spinner. So now that Rhode is part of the e.l.f. family, let's talk about what is next for them. So Rhode joins e.l.f.'s beauty portfolio that has been growing over the years. For context here, they acquired Naturium back in August 2023 for $355 million. That's Susan Yara's skincare brand that is sold everywhere, including Target, one of their best sellers. They acquired Keys Soul Care, Alicia Keys' wellness brand, acquired in 2020 for an undisclosed amount, and also Well People in 2020 for $27 million.
So this isn't e.l.f.'s first stab at like a celebrity-backed line, but I think what's really going to make it different this time is all of those brands that you mentioned, they sell at like a Target, they sell at an Ulta, but none of them sell at Sephora.
Yes. This is going to be huge. So I feel like come this fall, we're really going to see how Rhode performs for e.l.f.
So ultimately, even though I've never tried a Rhode product, and I don't think I will ever try a Rhode product, like it's actually crazy. I have one with me.
Yeah, we got gifted these.
Yeah, we got gifted these like mini glazing milk. I still haven't tried this. I don't know if I will. Will you?
I don't know. I don't even know where mine is, to be honest. But if I have any Hailey friends, if you guys want it, you can have it. Like, I mean, here, I'm going to open this. Oh, okay.
It's like a milky toner.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, it's very liquidy.
I mean, it's a toner.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's fine. It's totally fine. I just feel like I have so much high performing skincare that I prefer. I'm not trying to rotate out anything right now.
Yeah, I think that's also kind of my take too. Like, as someone with sensitive skin, I'm really hesitant to incorporate any new product unless I have heavily researched it or it is just like for sure going to transform something. So I don't know, but I do think it's going to perform really, really well and continue to grow really, really fast.
The other thing I think is that, okay, so if Rhode sold for $1 billion before it hit Sephora, just as a DTC company, doing over 200 million, I know that Rare is also exploring a sale. And Rare does well over 600 million, I believe, in annual revenue. So if we're going to take those kind of multiples, I am really curious to see where Rare ends up on the M&A market.
For sure. But for me, it's also like, how much more can you grow after that? Right? Like where is the limit on these things? Because I don't know. I'm also curious to see like when Rhode enters Sephora, how big of a stand are they going to get? Like Rare has its own full size thing. Other brands will only get like the end shelving, right? So we'll see what it ends up looking like. But yeah.
So Rare has that whole gondola because they literally pump out new product like all the time. I know from some insiders at Rare that because they've been anticipating this sale of theirs, they've been pushing new product out like clockwork because they are just trying to up their sales. And that goes to your point, like how much bigger can you get? Like how many more freaking products can you sell?
Totally. I feel like as of right now, like you can do an entire routine with Rare Beauty, right? Like even this skincare, like what else is there to do? But I don't know. I'm really excited.
I feel like Rhode's going to have to release more products. That's the only way they can continue to grow is by selling more. And they only have 10 right now. And
so one of their brand mottos is one of everything good. So if they want to go and enter a Sephora and explode, what are they going to do, right? They already have a blush. If you're only going to make one of everything good, what does that mean? Are they going to be sneaky and be like one cream blush, one powder brush, one liquid blush, right? Who knows?
That could work. Yeah. But there are a lot of different face products, so they'll have opportunity to grow, but eventually they'll hit a wall.
I can't wait.
Thanks so much for listening. A new episode drops every Wednesday morning.
And don't forget to share some love, follow, subscribe, leave us a comment, and share this episode with a friend who needs a glow up.
And let's be friends. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at GlowJob Podcast.
If you have any questions, email us at hello@glowjobpodcast.com or shoot us a DM on Instagram.
We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.